The thing I love about this channel is the fact that it's backed up claims using actual evidence. You can't actually argue with in-your-face evidence.
Dude, are you new to the internet? People online do not care about evidence. All they want is validation for their own opinions. Usually when I provide verifiable, repeatable evidence, I usually get a lot of personal attacks and a lot of claims that I'm wrong. What I usually don't get is people providing their own evidence to back up their own statements. That very rarely happens because musicians are just plain fucking lazy. Instead, what I get is this. But what about live? What about live? What? A Neve Genesis Black isn't going to be good enough for you? Morning, everybody. How the hell is it going? Hope you're going to have a hell of a week. It is Monday, June 30th, and I haven't put a viewer's comments out on a Monday morning in I don't know how many years, but I figure, hey, what the hell? And just to let you know, today is the absolute last day to get your hands on the home studio cheat code. It's going for $147, and that sale ends tonight, and you're only ever going to see it at that price today. And then it's gone for good. I'm never going to offer that price ever again for this thing. It is my step-by-step guide to learn how to get great recordings using nothing but free plugins and what you already own. It's an early adopter's price right now because I'm filling it in and making it the best it can possibly be based on your feedback. And I'm going to have a little bit more on that a little bit later. Anyway, let's get to your comments, questions right now.
Glenn, are you changing the name of the channel after leaving SD?
Okay, this is based on last week's viewer counts that I called, hey, I'm leaving Spectre Digital. Let me make this very clear. I'm not leaving the channel. Spectre Digital is this logo here, and that is a different entity than my company, Spectre Media Group, which I've had since 2012 over various iterations. Spectre Digital was a partnership between myself and Alex Nasla to do software and courses and all that kind of stuff. And after my wife got sick, it became a bit too much to take on. So I've downsized my life and left the company in good hands. They make amazing software. Like I said, go check out Element Base. It's freaking awesome. And I'm just focusing on Spectre Media Group, my thing, and my new course, the home studio cheat code. So that's what's going on there. I just needed to downsize my life. So if you have any questions about Element Base or Extinction Level Event or any of the courses on there, please hit up Spectre Digital because I don't work there anymore. But I'm going to focus on what I love doing the most, and that is making this show day in and day out and helping you make better recordings at home. And speaking of making better recordings at home, this week's theme is all about Neural Amp Modeler. This program here, it is open source amp modeling. It is absolutely phenomenal. I've got 6 of my own captures in the home studio cheat code, including my morning wood, which is absolutely awesome. But the thing I love about it is the fact I said, hey, here's this really amazing at-home recording solution. And it's kind of like when Pro Tools went to third-party interfaces once the cat was out of the bag that, hey, you didn't actually need to buy DigiDesign hardware to run Pro Tools anymore. You could use any off-the-shelf interface. Because DigiDesign, remember, had been selling this line of bullshit to everybody for decades that you had to, if you wanted their software, you needed their hardware. And that was just not even remotely close to being true. But they rode that line of marketing bullshit all the way to the bank. That happened in 2010 with the release of Pro Tools 9. Suddenly you could use third-party interfaces, even though people had hacked it to do that before. And all of a sudden, everybody who had dropped a crap ton of money into really expensive TDM systems made all these excuses online why you still had to use TDM because, you know, you wouldn't be able to possibly run an entire session on your DAW. Meanwhile, those of us have been running Saw Studio for the last 10 years. We're like, what are you fucking joking? We're seeing the exact same thing happen 15 years later now between Neural Amp Modeler and the Quad Cortex, the Axe-Fx, the Kemper, and all the hardware solutions. There's some really great comments here, and I'm got them for you right now.
So, what do we use to play live?
Dude, nobody's going to your gigs anyway. Don't worry about it. Seriously, if it's just your mom, dad, and the other band's girlfriends, yeah, it's nothing to lose any sleep over. Maybe you've heard of this. This is a M1 MacBook Air. This is more than capable of running Neural Amp Modeler and a whole host of effects. And chances are you might even already have one of these, so it's not like a huge extra expense you need to spend. Of course, then you're going to need an interface. What do I got? I've got the iRig Pro here from IK Multimedia. It weighs nothing. This is like my road bag here. I'll throw this in just in case I got to record guitar when I'm on the road or whatever. And this is great. Oh, and it's even got MIDI connectivity. So guess what? You can plug that in, use your MIDI on it at a gig. You can get a really cheap foot switch for it to swap all your effects in and out if you're clever and save yourself a bloody fortune. Now, if you don't have a MacBook and you still want to run Neural Amp Modeler, there are some hardware solutions, including some extremely affordable ones, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Take that plug into a Saturday night gig.
Hell, I'd be impressed if you could take an audience to a Saturday night gig. It's amazing that I can show off a viable at-home recording solution that gives you amazing results for absolutely no money at all. And then all of a sudden, everything shifts to, but what about live? What about live? And it's like, isn't just being able to record an awesome sound at home for no money enough? But there are some live solutions coming. Again, I'm going to let you know in a minute here.
To be honest, Quad Cortex isn't much better than all the other options. I've gone side by side, Helix versus Quad Cortex with another guitar player in high gain. Sure, it's a bit better, but no question. But in a mix, Helix is king, bro.
Really? The Helix? Okay, remember what I said earlier in the episode about providing evidence and then we just gotta wait for people to do the same? Yeah, that's a great claim backed up by zero evidence whatsoever. You didn't link to any kind of test or shootout. You did. Okay, I'll just take your word for it, bro, that Helix is king. And it's so king, in fact, that Line 6 is just replacing the entire thing with the new Helix Stadium based on new modeling technology. Okay. Your argument solidifies as more facts are brought forward. Interesting stuff.
Look at Fractal Audio Artist List. Speaks volumes.
Now, I'm sure they do have a very impressive artist roster. I can't profess to have any kind of inside knowledge about Fractal's endorsement policy or how they do it. I have zero knowledge on that, but I can tell you two things I do know for sure. Number one is that musicians are broke, and number two, musicians are whores.
Glenn's mission is nearly complete. Now every metal guitar player, regardless of budget, can sound the same. Truly now everyone can sound the same and it's easier than ever. Yeah, sorry about the edit. In the old days, spending lots of money on gear meant that you were experimenting to find new sound.
Hold on a second. You've been telling me for years that the sound's in the hands. So if I'm showing people how to get great sounds out of a neural amp modeler, shouldn't that sound in the hands thing apply? Or does that only apply when I'm making a certain argument against it? I'm a little bit confused here. Maybe perhaps you can enlighten me how that actually works. The sound is in the hands depending on what's actually being presented on screen and whether or not you agree with what's being presented. In my recollection, in the old days, I was broke as hell, so spending any money on gear meant spending very, very little and getting the cheapest pedals I could get my hands on to plug into my shitty Gorilla amp. So yeah, the old days were certainly grand, weren't they? So much better than what we have today with free amp models that can mimic a multi-$1,000 tube amp to a T. But let's worry about the old days.
Quad Cortex is far beyond Fractal. Big facts, so is everyone else. Also, a free plugin has to be hooked up to a computer, interface, amplification, and speakers. Low latency is king, so you need a good system interface. Is it really cheaper or easier than a standalone unit? No. The $279 Magic Loader box has crappy analog to digital converters and also crappy digital analog converters. You can't have world-class tone with crappy converters.
Now, if you watched yesterday's video, 13 mistakes you're making when you're recording guitar at home, we already brought up what you should say to a person the second they bring up converters. And that is,
shut the fuck up!
Dude, I gotta say, that's a valiant attempt at sounding witty, and you have failed miserably. The simple truth is, the converters we've had, even the most bare bones, cheap ass converters we have, are miles above what we had 20 years ago. The converter argument is over. Do yourself a favor and stop bringing it up and start basing your argument on reality.
You can't make this up. Get free plugins, but pay me how to learn how to use them because you suck. What Glenn fails to tell you is you need a laptop and MIDI switcher to play live with NAMM. You'll get zero connectivity with your gear. You will have to filter through a gazillion captions to find a decent, not good one. Look at Glenn asking for your money. We'll call you all dumb for giving your money to someone else.
Hey, Jovinsky2613, thanks so much for writing in. I do very much appreciate that. Here's the thing, I never said anything in my initial video about playing live, and like I said, suddenly that becomes the great holdback for this. All I promised was to help you make better recordings at home, and I still do that. And that's the thing, it makes you have to filter through a gazillion captures to find a decent good one. Well, that's why I did the home studio cheat code, because I did 6 amp captures of my own personal collection, so you don't have to sit there and filter through everything. I've done them right here on the fucking simply the best audio gear on the planet. All my captures went through my Neve Genesis Black, and it's like, what? A Neve Genesis Black isn't gonna be good enough for you? Everything also went through my own personal cabinet collection, which I included as well. Now, I gotta mention again, the sale's gonna end tonight, meaning today is the absolute last day you can get it for the introductory price of $147. After that, the price is gonna go way up because I can't make an offer like this forever. But you are going to get my course to show you where and how to install those plugins, free plugins, and how to get pro results with them like this. But it's not just all about how to use free plugins. It's a mixing system you learn so you don't waste your time going through endless lists of plugins. I've figured out what actually works and works well. Now, this is the thing. I'm not going to claim any different that all that information is out there for free. It absolutely is. And that's a great thing. You've got a choice. If you want, you can go out there and find all that stuff all by yourself. All I'm promising to do is save you a crap ton of time because I've already made all those mistakes. I've spent decades sifting through what works, what doesn't work, and figuring out how to put it all together into a simple system that will get you great results every single time. And yes, you get my amp captures, you get my impulse responses, plus you get 4 one-hour group calls with me, one a week, where I help you go over what's causing you problems. Now, you're absolutely free to not join that and go figure it out for yourself. Absolutely. But if you're tired of bashing your head in the wall and want to get real help and get real results, join the Home Studio Cheat Code today because the sale's ending tonight. Oh, and by the way, I will be doing a live stream tonight at around 7:30, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where I take a look at a fan's multi-track and apply the techniques we use in the Home Studio Cheat Code to his mix. Should be an awful lot of fun. Hope to see you there.
So, question, how are you getting your guitar into your Mac? I have a PreSonus box that I used for a while, but I had super hard time getting perfectly clean tone out of it. And of course, latency. It was good, but it's still there. I love the idea of plugins, I really do, but to get rid of latency and clean going in, I really wish I could get the Home Studio Cheat Code package, but I'm in between pay periods and I'm gonna miss the sale.
Sorry about your luck, dude.
Would really like to learn more on my Mac about signal chain problems, etc. You know, you're a PC and hardware guy.
That's the thing. I am going to be doing a whole sub-course in the Home Studio Cheat Code about getting the best performance out of your Mac. It's really not that difficult. Like I said, most times these days, it's really not that difficult to get a decent clean signal in your Mac. I don't know how old your interface is. I don't know how old your Mac is. Like, all the stuff on the M1 chips these days is just fucking amazing performance. So this is an M1 MacBook Air. I was going to get, the MacBook Pro and whatnot, and I had a good conversation with Henning Pauly about that. And he asked me, what am I actually doing? Because I was going to spend all the money and get the big monitor one. I'm like, I'm mostly using this for travel, doing some emails, maybe a bit of video editing here and there, and maybe a bit of minor tracking. He's like, dude, get the M1 MacBook Air. I got this and I've never regretted it. This thing's just been phenomenal for what I need it for. Yeah, you can't really play, most modern games on it, but, I do have Steam up and running on it. When we were on the island in the Philippines there a couple years back, I was actually playing Wasteland 2 with this, and I was having an absolute blast. Everyone is looking at me like, you're just playing video games and we're on an island. I'm like, I don't get any fucking time off. Yes, I want to play some video games. Fucking sue me. You vacation your way, I'll vacation my way. Anyway, point being is I've had that for a few years now and never, ever, ever regret it. And again, I have to say, there's so many great interfaces these days. Like, if you just want dead nuts, simple fucking recording, there's so many options out there. Yeah, there's the IK iRig. All the IK interfaces are actually really fucking good. I think I got another one in a box somewhere I should probably take a look at some point. But Antelope's got some good ones. I've got the PreSonus one. The new PreSonus one is fucking killer. I demoed that a while back. Great stuff. Like, if you want the simplest damn interface you're ever gonna get, and it's just easy to use and it does auto gain and everything like that, get the Lewitt Connect 2. It's an absolute fucking beast and a dream to work with. You really can't go wrong with that at all. But if you are having problems with your Mac and latency, I just don't fucking get it because usually it's wound up pretty fucking tight, and Mac's audio system is phenomenal. Windows 11, on the other hand, well, let's just say I'm negotiating with a couple of companies right now to possibly feature their Windows 11 builds and see how we can make it work for audio, so stay tuned for that. I know we got a lot of requests about that like a week ago. So yeah, it's gonna happen. There's definitely some interest, and should be a really cool episode. So make sure you're subscribed if you hadn't. I'd really fucking appreciate it. Anyway, moving on.
Glenn, you have to try the Valton GP5. It's literally giving the Tonex one a hard time, and it's the same size, but half the price. It can be loaded up with NAND captures. Cheapest, greatest sounding pedal ever.
Dude, you're not the only person who mentioned that. I got a bunch of comments about that. Like, you gotta check out the Valton GT5. Because I mentioned one of the other ones. A bunch of you guys are saying, no, there's an even cheaper version now where it pretty much does what the Tonex 1 does. And the Tonex 1 is a phenomenal solution as well. So there is that. Now, there is an issue with the Valton, and that is it uses a lossy version of the NAMM amp capture. Think of it like an MP3 version of it almost. I was talking with Steve Ack yesterday over Facebook. Steve reached out to me. He really liked the video I put out about Neural Amp Modeler, and he's saying, yo, check this out, check this out. And I'm going to quote Steve here. Great guy, by the way. If you ever get a chance to meet him, sit him down for coffee and pick his brains. He's a really awesome guy. The two products that are out right now that play NAMM lossless are the Dimehead NAMM player and the Dark Glass Anagram. The Poly Bibu and Mod Dwarf also play lossless, but only at a smaller model sizes than the standard WaveNet, which is what 99.9% of the NAMMs out there are. Yeah, I did all my captures in standard WaveNet as well. So I think I want to get my hands on the Dimehead NAMM, and I just ordered the Valton today. Hopefully I'm going to get that in a few days, and I'll be able to put that through its paces, and eventually I'll be able to shoot them all out and see what's the best hardware solution. So I'd like to say this to everybody who's been whining, but what about live? But what about live? Yes, there are solutions there. Keep your fucking panties on. I will be more than happy to shoot them out against things like the Quad Cortex and other hardware solutions just to see what's available and what the best option is. Now, the Dimehead, I think, comes with at least has a screen. It might even be a touchscreen. I don't know. And I was even talking with a couple guys from a company from Cyprus a couple years ago who were doing like basically a PC floor model with a touchscreen on that you could load Neural Amp Modeler on as well. And I really need to reach out to those dudes too as well and see if it's still being made, and two, if it's affordable, because you can run a whole bunch of other software besides NAMM on it. But I just really like the idea of NAMM on a little small pedal you can drop in like a Tone X1, and you know what, I'm going to shoot that out as well. Should be really fucking cool. Hopefully I'll be able to make a few recommendations as to where to put your money. For what it's worth, I think the Tone X1 is a phenomenal solution, but if you're dead fucking broke, maybe the Valton's even better because there's just so many captures floating around out there.
I kind of miss the old days of going to the shop, pick out a real amp, and be done with it. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I really miss the old days of going to the shop and relying on the opinion of the guy trying to sell you the thing. That's never steered me in the wrong direction, ever. At least with YouTube, we can watch several videos on something and make up our own minds. I do tend to like that a little bit better.
Question, but how do you seamlessly play live with the free stuff without needing a bunch of different files for every song to say a cover band, where it was with the hardware options, I just press a button for next?
Well, again, I just stated that we're going to be looking at the Dimehead in the near future. That might be just the ticket. Or, you can play like cover bands of old and just, use one amp and one setting and then do your show that way, because nobody in the audience is really going to give a flying fuck. But that's just, years and years of observation speaking there.
I prefer Mix A and was really surprised at the end. This is the best video you've ever produced, Glenn. It's the most crucial video for all metal home recordists out there.
But you're not playing live, man. It's all about live now. No, seriously, man. If you enjoyed the NAMM versus Quad Cortex video thing, I'm glad you did. And I'm glad you liked where it went. I mean, I don't try and skew anything. I just try and make as accurate test as possible and try and dial them in the best to each other that I can before I do the captures. That's what I got, and it's pretty fucking impressive, I gotta say. Really cool time to be a great guitar player. Now all you gotta do is just write a cool song.
Is there an AAX version?
For Neural Amp Modeler itself, no, but somebody was really cool in the comments there and mentioned there's something called NAMM Universal. And I'm going to take a look at that in the very near future as well, and I'll probably update the home studio cheat code to feature that, because I'm just looking over the features list. I'm like, damn, this looks really fucking cool, because it'll do stereo, which the original NAMM modeler can't. So instead of having to load up, 4 different versions if you're quad tracking, you just drop one on a stereo bus with all your DIs and away you go, saving CPU cycles, which is fucking awesome. Plus, it's got this whole tone stack and includes like an anti-sneap style C4 multi-band compressor to get your hands on the palm mutes. It's got an IR loader. It's got a whole bunch of stuff there. I think that's just simply amazing. I can't wait to try it out. And yeah, it's absolutely free. Very cool indeed. And yes, comes in AAX as well. For the rest of the world, why is Pro Tools still doing AAX? Why aren't they using VST like, the rest of the known universe? I just don't fucking get that. We're Pro Tools, so we're better.
I take these couple of old pedals in a Digitech RP355 and can totally kick a Cortex's ass.
Really? Great. Then fucking do it. Put it out on your show and show us how it's done.
Hey Glenn, can you post the link for NAMM to run on PC Windows? I've tried downloading it and I can't get it to work.
Hey Will, I covered all that in the home studio cheat code. Hope to see you in there, especially on the live streams.
NAM TSC 808 NAD IR will work with your UKV30, a Watchtower IR, and is seriously a killer combo. You don't need much after. For my demos, I just use Reek, free on Reaper, Ignite Amps, free Pultec plugin, and some Toucan plugins, free on Reaper, and honestly, it changed my life.
Yes, the free tools out there available to you are just simply incredible these days. You don't have to jump through a lot of hoops. My whole overarching point in all of this is the tools are there. Just go make something awesome. You don't have to sit there and sift through a billion different things to try and get a great sound. It's not some great big secret anymore. I mean, when I started on the Andy Sneap forum like 20 years ago, that was the big thing. We're all trying to figure out how the hell do we get these guitars to sound good? And so many people are so helpful to me. I did a whole thing on recording drums just to help people out with recording drums. But that was the big thing. How do we make this recording heavy guitars thing work? Because there's no real information out there. Now, all you got to do is get something like, once again, the home studio cheat code, and especially if you're a Reaper guy, you can just drag and drop my preset right on there and you're good to go. It will sound good right out of the box. And what's more cooler than that, especially if you're a composer who just wants to record something that sounds good? Obviously, you can do far more advanced engineering. Nobody's saying you can't. But if you're just starting out and you want something that works and you don't know how to make it sound good, now's the time to check that stuff out.
Hey Glenn, I recently saw a mixing and mastering channels promoting the use of various channel strip VSTs like Neve, SSL, etc. They claim to give warmth and character. However, during A/B testing, I couldn't hear any difference. Maybe my ears aren't developed enough. What's your opinion? Is the stock compressor in my cheapo DAW that gave me good enough that I don't need the extra tube emulation with that extra warmth? Do I need to drop $80 on the vintage EQ emulation with real bands used? By the way, I'm talking about classic rock, jazz, fusion, not metal. Thanks in advance for answering.
If you're just starting out, definitely not. The stuff coming in your DAW, you didn't say what DAW you were in, but the stock plugins that come in most DAWs are absolutely amazing, and the stuff out there that's free is really amazing too. Again, home studio cheat code. I do the whole thing and show you my personal favorites about what works. But as for actual warmth, I don't know how much of that is true and how much of that is pure marketing. I tell you what I should do. You're giving me a great idea for an upcoming video. It sounds like I need to make a Fearless Gear review where we can analyze some of those things and see what kind of harmonic content is being generated by those plugins, and is it really any different from one brand to the next. I mean, as far as interface goes, you know, that's something else as well. Like you use an SSL channel strip. Like I love those things, and they've got a, the thing is you can drop them on multiple channels, then you have a consistent interface, you know it's going to work. Whether or not they add any actual, extra richness or harmonics remains to be seen. I honestly can't give you an answer either way. I will say this though, when I start running shit through the Neve here, though it's 16 Neve EQs and I've got 8 Neve compressors plus a whole rack of outboard stuff there. My friends always told me run it freaking hot, and that's what I'll do. I'll actually, run the inputs so hot they're like pegging the inputs and they're hitting the transformers hard, and so extra content is being generated there. But that's strictly in the analog realm, and I'll tell you, this fucking thing really warms up when you do that. So that will be coming up in the very near future, but until then, shop smart, shop S-Smart. Seriously though, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing and all that stuff. Hope you're gonna have a hell of a week. One more time, home studio cheat code ends tonight. It's a 69% discount and you will get your hands on my Morningwood, and it sounds like this. Grab it now while you can for that price. And if you got any more questions about it, I hope to see you on tonight's live stream. I will be up at roughly 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight. Hope to see you there. And until then, have an amazing day, and I'll see you later. Fuck. There we go. Fuck. Thought I finished my coffee. Damn it. Right in the middle of the tank. Lovely. Fuck. Fuck's sakes. Remember, kids, preparation is the key. Your video shoot doesn't turn into preparation H. Fuck!